So, I think I just found what the downfall of humanity is going to be. Hello, my creeps and freaks, and welcome to the Internet Paradox. I'm your host, Scenebean, and today we're going to be looking into what I'm considering to be the downfall of the human generation. I'm sure you've all seen it popping up on your For You pages about how the children of the next generation are self-centered couch potatoes with no critical thinking skills whatsoever and attention spans smaller than my dwindling faith in humanity. We have all seen them, heard about them, and I'm sure everyone watching this has come across one of the many forms these Gen Alphalings can take, whether it be the iPad kid or the Sephora 10-year-old. All species within the Gen Alpha breed come pre-packaged with all the gyatts, skibbity, Ohio-loving brain rot the worst corners of TikTok have to offer. So why is the next generation screwed, and what are we going to do about it? Well, fellow anomalies, I invite you to stick out your gyatts for the rizzler. What? And join me as we confront the monster we helped to create, that is, the Brainrot Epidemic. But before we get into that, if you haven't done so, please consider subscribing and smash that like button if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I upload new videos once every 2 weeks, and if you like what you see today, make sure to check out my other socials linked in the description for more content I know you guys will love. But anyways, with that all being said, back to the video. So first off, let's get back to basics. What exactly is brain rot? Well, for starters, I'd like to clear things up by saying that the term itself is not literal. As cool as this sounds, no, it is not the literal condition of a brain rotting away and decomposing inside someone's skull while they are alive and walking around. This isn't the zombie apocalypse, people. You guys have been watching too much of The Last of Us on HBO. The term itself, being coined by Gen Z, is a state of mental fogginess and cognitive decline that results from excessive screen engagement, causing deteriorated memory, attention span, critical thinking skills, cognitive function, and problem solving. So basically, brain rot generates what the internet would describe as smooth brain activity, aka the result of lazy millennial parents letting their kids watch unregulated YouTube and TikTok on their iPads 24/7, thus allowing the next generation to develop an addictive codependency on technology to the detriment of their developing minds. Now, we've heard from all ages, from both boomers and millennials alike, that Gen Z is addicted to their phones and they are incredibly dependent on them and they can't go 2 seconds without looking at a screen and blah, 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 blah. But you see, when I was young and a small little baby bean, the first generation iPad had only just come out and iPhones were only like 4 inches long and couldn't do much else other than the basic functions. And to prove my point, YouTube looked like this. What is this? See, I'm making this nostalgia play to move along a point. Gen Z is the last generation to have grown up without technology, and that's scary. Because while we were watching Pinky Dinky Doo, Wow Wow Wubsy, or Jack's Big Music Show, which were all shows I grew up with, by the way, Gen Alpha is watching stuff like this!
Skibidi. Oh, no, yes. Skibidi. Damn, skibidi.
Hey, yeah. Ooh, skibbity Fortnite.
Skibbity Fortnite.
Ooh, skibbity Fortnite.
Skibbity Fortnite.
Wow, such enriching content. The life lessons and meaningful interactions the characters have in this video are such a great example of the kind of content the generation of tomorrow should be exposed to. I mean, when he said skibbity Fortnite and held up those guns at that cow and baby, I really sense a feeling of just utter joy at the impressionable minds this content will be infecting and influencing. No. Why is this what Gen Alpha will have nostalgia for? How would the founding fathers of America feel if someone showed them this footage and said it was the future of humanity? What is the purpose of creating this godless, mind-numbing content? Is it specifically intended to bring down the average global IQ score? Because if it is, then it's doing a great job! And as much as I hate to say this, that's not a conspiracy or an exaggeration. If you want proof of how big an issue the behavior and intelligence of Gen Alpha is, Look no further than the education system, where brain rot symptoms are incredibly prevalent. Hundreds of teachers on TikTok have been making posts detailing the nightmarish behavior of the students experiencing this horrible, awful, just brain rot. Detailing and describing all of the ridiculous behavior and just stuff they have to deal with and endure while in the classroom setting. And the stuff these people are dealing with is just, it's just sad.
The Gen Alphas. A student today accidentally called me Alexa.
And I feel the person who encapsulates this argument and makes the best points is TikToker and 7th grade teacher, Mr. Kubisky, who shares with the internet a rather concerning perspective.
So I'm not really understanding why they're not telling y'all. Like, we all know that the world is behind, like, you know, globally, like, you know, because of the pandemic and stuff. But I don't understand why they're not stressing to y'all how bad it is. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but these kids are... I'ma just say this. I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level. I don't care how you flip it, turn it, swing it, swindle it. They still performing on the 4th grade level.
What?
4th grade is being nice. I still have kids performing on grade K, 1, 2, and 3rd grade levels. I could probably count on one hand how many kids are actually performing on their grade level. So just imagine, you don't know that your child been on the 2nd grade level since the 2nd grade and they now in the 7th or 8th grade? Are you joking right now? And these are future leaders, our future doctors, our future nurses, our future... Please. Please.
I know there are kids sometimes who struggle in classes and need extra help at times. That is to be expected in educational environments, and there is nothing wrong with sometimes needing some extra help on assignments or needing some accommodations from the school system. Heck, I was one of those kids when I was in middle school. But having the entire grade perform on an equal level to that of 3 class levels lower than them, like lower than their actual grade level, is pretty concerning, to say the least. Not only that, but it seems Kubisky is having it good compared to what some of the other teachers are experiencing.
Oh my God, I feel victimized by some of these 6 and 7-year-olds. Like, they don't listen, they're violent as hell. Their academic abilities are so much lower than I've seen in my previous teaching years. They're helpless. You ask a question, they're just staring at you. They still can't form their letters. Like, before, in a class of 30, you might have had maybe 5 or 6 students that, you know, needed support to access the curriculum. Now, it's like the other way around. You have 5 or 6 students that can access the curriculum, and then the rest of the class really struggles. It is bizarre. I don't know how we're raising them or what on earth is going on, but they can't manage their emotions. They're throwing tantrums left, right, and center. They hide under tables, they storm out, they don't listen to instructions. You tell them something and they just mock you and repeat after you what you've just said. They don't be quiet. It is stressful as hell. Like, it makes you contemplate walking out of the profession because it is just too much.
So disrespectful, violent, cruel to people around them, 0 attention span, and inability to express complex emotions? I'd probably quit teaching too if I had to deal with that on a regular basis. But the worst part of this entire situation is the fact that Gen Alpha can't even read. And I don't mean like kindergartners are struggling with it. I mean like 5th graders and middle schoolers being unable to read, write, and comprehend basic words and phrases.
I was talking to one of our church kids, and he like very boldly told me, yeah, I don't know how to read, and neither does anybody in my class. Mind you, this kid is starting 5th grade in August, okay? And I thought he was playing, so I told him, you know, kids will do anything for money. So I was like, I'll give you $10 if you could tell me what this bag says. It said chips in giant letters. And I said, you could sound it out, you could try spelling it or whatever to help you read it. Because I thought he was lying. So this dude goes, CHIPS. And I go, what does that say? And he goes, potatoes.
Dear God, humanity is done for.
Adagio, not a super long word.
not a really complicated combination of letters, but because the child had never seen that word before in their life, they had no concept of what it looked like. They could not have it memorized in their banks already. And so when they would try to reproduce it and they could not phonetically spell it out, or they could not reproduce those letters in the correct order by any measure of degree of accuracy, even if it was by like 5% accuracy, they were literally making up shapes. Or making up words, or making up symbols, or writing symbols that weren't even letters.
Oh, and by the way, the symbols that she was talking about look like this. What is this? But when you think about the stuff these kids are constantly being exposed to online, it's no wonder they're behaving this way, and it's no wonder they're all suffering from brain rot. And before anyone goes here, no, I'm not about to go all video games cause violence on you all. That's not what this video is about, and frankly, I don't want to sound like some out-of-touch boomer. For one, you have things like TikTok whittling down the attention span of Gen Alpha, but the things commonly found by these kids on the internet that's becoming especially problematic aren't coming from places like TikTok. They're coming from places like the YouTube Kids app, in the form of subliminally provocative and violent content hidden under the guise of popular children's media characters like Disney princesses, superheroes, and cartoon characters like Bluey, Peppa Pig, or SpongeBob. And if that doesn't ring in a bell, allow me to illuminate. Channels who produce this content specifically do it for a profit and for views, and that's why they are referred to by the internet as content farms. And for this section, I'm going to give it over to fellow commentary channel and YouTuber MK. Oh, and that must be him now. Hello?
Hey, Scenebean. What's going on, family? I'm Gangy Gang, it's your boy MK, and I'm here on Scenebean's channel to talk to you about content farms. Now, this is actually a pretty fun topic for me to talk about, seeing as I'm literally being bent over and assaulted by a massive content farm channel, which I'll talk about later. But first, there's probably some of you watching this thinking, what is a content farm? Well, basically, a content farm is a website or company that creates vast amounts of content that is usually duplicated and low quality, written specifically to fulfill algorithms and rank highly in search engine results pages. Essentially, these farms are all corporate scumbag channels, and they should all be taken down because they ruin the name of YouTube and the integrity that comes with being a homegrown creator. Now, for this section, I'm only going to talk about 3 different channels because they represent different subcategories and styles of content in the YouTube space content farm area. The first channel we're going to talk about though is Max Design Pro. And what this channel does is it essentially capitalizes on a really popular meme and it will drag it on forever and ever and ever, until the end of time. And it's home to the famous Gadaggedy meme, or the one that adopted it. I don't actually know because I don't do research on content farms. All I know is Max Design Pro plays a massive part in Gadaggedy and it is terrible. I mean, look at one of his clips.
Gadaggedy, gadaggedy, gadag, gadaggedy, gadagada, oh. What? Help me!
Absolutely no substance in that, and it's just useless. It doesn't provide anything at all. I mean, the only thing it does provide is the dopamine for the iPad kids with their Cheeto fingers swiping on their YouTube shorts all day. The way I see it though, Max Design Pro is doing one of 2 things here. One, he could be running a sweatshop full of animators, giving them that crazy Mappa animator treatment. If you don't know what that is, then just look it up. Or 2, he's just loaded and pays these animators so much money to the point where they will be perfectly fine with working on slop like this. Because I can tell you now, if I was a sane animator, I would not want to make stuff like this. There's just no way you're getting me to do it. Or the secret third option is just that he's doing it all on his own, but I mean, come on now, it's a content farm. And it's got really high quality. There's no way he's doing this on his own. If you are though, good job Max Design Pro. Anyway, moving on to the second channel, I wanted to talk about Elsagate. I'm pretty sure they're banned now, but I haven't looked into it. Once again, I don't look into content farm channels. I'm just never interested in it. Also, this was before my time. This was before my huge blow up or something. I don't know. I haven't really blown up yet. But I'm talking about it now, and ElsaGate is probably one of the worst content farms to ever exist ever. I'll be so honest. What they did was absolutely appalling. They basically tried to market popcorn content, that weird corn yellow YouTube content, and mask it as kids entertainment. I don't really want to go too far in on this topic because it's a very risky subject. Also, I don't want Scenebean's video to get taken down. But yeah, ElsaGate definitely was one of the worst of its time, making corn content, trying to market towards children. I mean, ElsaGate pretty much taught them a lot more than they should have known. I mean, when I was 5 years old, I was playing with Thomas the Train. When ElsaGate was around, 5-year-olds already knew how to make families, bro. I mean, they didn't, but you know what I mean. Alright, moving on to my third and least favorite out of the 3 content farms. And this is the scumbag that is known as LOL Cringe, the man that copyright struck me for making transformative content. This content farm is the type that would just solely dedicate themselves to shorts content, provide absolutely zero creativity, and just beg for subscribers. The worst part about this is he doesn't even use his own original clips. He'll slap a clip of anything, absolutely anything, onto the screen and then beg for a subscriber afterwards. I mean, throw a couple silly faces in there and then you have some low cringe content to mass produce for the world. This guy has absolutely no regard for what the future generations are gonna see, which really sucks. He probably thinks, oh yeah, I'm gonna die before then, so it doesn't really affect me. In fact, no he doesn't. That's a lie. He probably thinks he's gonna live on for the ages, through the minds and hearts of the people. Wait till we see old Cringe on his deathbed, bro.
Jimmy! Tell them I was Skibbity.
Looking boy, if you don't get this guy out of my face, man. Anyway, thank you Scenebean for letting a small baby channel like mine be on here. I really appreciate it, and back to you.
Thanks, MK! Now, while those forms of content farming are pretty detrimental and bordering on almost dangerous to the minds of Gen Alpha, as we have seen already, all of those examples are next to nothing compared to this. This piece of media turned series is the most well-known and infamous thing to grace the YouTube Shorts platform in, well, basically ever. So allow me to show you all the thing, the creation that has become the main thing to rot the minds of an entire generation. Behold, the thing that has brain rotted and befallen humanity, Skibbity Toilet. Horrifying, I know. But okay, all jokes and exaggeration aside, let's ground ourselves in some realism and answer what is Skibbity Toilet. And before we get into this, let me just say that for research purposes, in preparation for this video, I watched all 75 episodes of Skibbity Toilet. Pray for me, please. Skibbity Toilet is an online series being told through YouTube Shorts that ended up exploding due to it being just the perfect mix of senseless violence, dumb humor, and internet references. The series itself being created by YouTuber Da Fuck Boom, Skibbity Toilet was able to tickle the YouTube algorithm and the mindless dopamine addicted brains of the internet just right, which is why it's so well known and popular. To summarize what exactly Skibbity Toilet is, well, it's set in a dystopian Earth where all humans have been eaten by the Skibbity Toilets, which are cannibalistic humanoid toilet hybrid entities that would make any SAP Foundation member absolutely quake in their boots. The story itself being about an ongoing war between the Skibbity Toilets and the Alliance, which is a rebel faction against the toilets made up by cameramen, speaker, and TV-headed people that relentlessly fight against the onslaught of toilets to take back the Earth. I don't even know how someone comes up with this. And for some reason, Skibbity Toilet has become the magnum opus for Gen Alpha, with the term skibbity entering into their vocabulary along with several other interesting slang words.
Good.
Sigma.
Bad.
Skibbity.
Loser.
Ohio.
Jeez, what do these guys have against Ohio? What did Ohio do to you?
Freaking come here. Give me your Ohio.
But back on topic, the issue with Skibbity Toilet is that really little kids are watching it in excess without any sort of regulation from their parents. And because of this, these kids are becoming addicted to watching the Skibidi Toilet content, and they get extremely violent and throw massive tantrums when denied access to it by their parents.
And then you will not watch Skibidi Toilet. Ben, stop! Stop it, right now! No! Ben, go to the room.
This behavior has come to be known as a sort of subcategory to brain rot, being dubbed by the internet as Skibidi Toilet Syndrome.
Let me watch Skibidi Toilet.
With symptoms of the syndrome being violent outbursts, as we've already seen, excessive watching, and imitating the toilets as seen with many TikTok posts online. But the fascination with Gen Alpha really makes you think, do we Zoomers have any right to talk? I mean, think about all the crazy made-up slang words we had when we were in middle school, or all the weird stuff we watched online. At the end of the day, Skibidi Toilet Syndrome, or brain rot, or making fun of whatever the heck this is.
You're so skibidi. You're so Phantom Tax. I just wanna be your Sigma.
None of that is done with actually malicious intent, because here's the truth of the matter. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. There's nothing wrong with imitating the Skibidi Toilet as a form of play. There's nothing wrong with any of the weird slang. None of that is the problem. In fact, at this point, stuff like that is just a part of growing up and the childhood experience. The real issue from brain rot comes from the fact that everything these Gen Alpha kids are watching and experiencing on the internet isn't really being regulated whatsoever. And they are being exposed to this stuff at ages as young as 8 months to 1 year old.
Yep, my son took my daughter's iPad. For some reason, he must have 3 devices. We did not take it away from him, and instead we let him keep it, and my daughter was happy to get a new iPad.
Think about how unhealthy that is for a developing mind, to be watching unregulated YouTube and Elsagate content as well as Skibidi Toilet at that young of an age. That thing is what the problem is. Skibidi Toilet is basically made for adults because it was started out as a meme of an already existing video game property played mostly by, you guessed it, teenagers and adults. Instead of taking the time to raise and spend time with these kids and regulate what they're watching and doing online, millennial parents across America are literally just giving their kids iPads or a device to keep them quiet and then leaving them alone with it for hours on end. That's the thing that's the problem. And that's why everybody is saying that Gen Alpha is doomed. We screwed these kids up the second they were born, and because of this, teachers are dropping out of schools. These kids have no critical thinking skills. Some of them can't even read. Like, this is a massive issue. These kids are gonna grow up to be politicians and leaders and parents, and this is how we are raising them. We are allowing them to view explicit material from a young age and allowing them to have unregulated internet access the second they crawl out of the womb. That is the problem, and that is the thing that needs to be addressed. So, is there a solution to it? Is there a solution to any of this? Is there a thing we can do to stop brain rot from spreading across the world as much as it already has? There is, in fact. The way to stop brain rot is by showing we actually give a crap about these kids. We need to spend time with them and be part of their lives instead of just using a screen to pacify them. The internet is a big and scary place, and there's no telling what things these kids could be exposed to. If their screen time continues to be unregulated, there's no telling what they could be watching and what they could be being influenced by. Because at the end of the day, that's the problem. And that's the thing we need to be talking about. But anyways, you guys, that was my opinion, and now I would love to hear yours. If this video has sparked some thought or disagreement, please feel free to share your thoughts and opinions with me by joining the Discord server, link is in the description, or by leaving a comment telling me your thoughts on this video, and you just might get a shout out in the next one. And above all, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and giving this one a like, as it really helps me to please that sweet, sweet YouTube algorithm. And massive shout out to my friend MK for helping me out with this one. Be sure to check out and subscribe to his channel, link is also in the description, as I think he'd really appreciate that. But that's all I have for today's video, so thank you all so much for tuning in, and as always, stay freaky.